Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the afternoon edition of the Difference Makers. If anybody's watching this morning, you saw our very first show with all the technical issues, camera issues, everything else. We're still, as long as we've been doing this for 18 months, you think we have it worked out right now, but we're still having some technical issues, camera-wise, and things like that. I want to talk to you real quick about what the Difference Makers is about. Obviously, the difference is a media radio program, live stream, and podcast that focuses on the small businesses and communities and how they're making the difference for their communities, for the people in their communities, for themselves, their families, the different things that the small businesses do, the impact that they have that you might not understand or get to see all the time. And so in doing that, not only we're making awareness, but we're also helping those small businesses have a little bit better understanding on how we need to be presenting what we're doing within those communities, and so we can get to know people better, make better relationships, better connections, and impact our communities more. I've got some great guests today, guest co-host. Our first one this afternoon is going to be Mark Koretsky with Movement Mortgage. I've known Mark now for quite a while. Mark's got an incredible story. He is one, and that's why I wanted him on to be one of the contributors to the difference and the difference makers. He's got an incredible story. When you hear it, it opens your eyes to what kind of person Mark is and how important it is for him to be able to do a great job for everybody that he gets the chance to work with. And it's those type of things that over the years have made me realize it's those stories that we need to remember and share so that people can understand we're just like you are. So I'm going to bring Mark in now.
How are you?
Mark, welcome again to I'm doing good, man. I'm staying warm.
Man, you sound better now that I'm on camera.
If you yeah. So I don't know if you're aware of what happened over Fort Worth way today, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You were a little scrambled before I came on. I was just saying you're lucky I came on and saved you.
You know what? We have this with this software program, and I have submitted that to tech support 1 million times. But when we play our intros and the video overlays, it always starts kind of garbled, and we can't figure out why that is. The minute that I include someone else, it clears up. So I may have to start trying to do a workaround with that. But welcome to the show today. Welcome to the Difference Makers.
Absolutely.
I know that we have about 30 minutes. Yeah, we have about 30 minutes, and you got a great guest. But before we get started, tell everybody about who you are and what you do with Movement Mortgage.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Mark Koretsky. I'm a residential loan officer here in Dallas, Texas with Movement Mortgage. Who am I? What do I do? I work primarily with first-time home buyers, with veterans, and with move-up buyers. I've been working a lot more with investors and really helping them attain properties, take advantage of these low rates, and really have a long-term rental. So that's what I do for a living. But who am I? I'm a first-generation immigrant. I love to serve. I love to help people. I am quite passionate about home ownership and love what I do and love being able to give back to my community. And I'm happy to talk about communities today. And it's actually a coincidence that I'm wearing my Community Dodge shirt here to commemorate our Spanish initiative and basically expanding home ownership throughout the Hispanic and Latino communities. That's a little bit about me. I hate talking about myself. I'm excited to talk about Kyle and talk about some of these concepts and topics that we want to chat about.
Awesome. Well, go ahead then and introduce Kyle. I think our audience, for a lot of people are going to know who he is. He's kind of famous, you know.
He's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he is kind of a big deal. I'm excited to have him on the difference. So introduce him and let's get him in here and let's get this conversation going.
Well, so Kyle told me he's just a dude, but I think Lendon, you and I both know, and a lot of the professionals in our community and both mortgage and real estate industry as a whole throughout the country and even into Canada. Kyle's been making some moves throughout the industry and throughout the kind of throughout the last couple of years has really grown his presence. I love what he's doing. I love his brand. I love his message. I love really the community atmosphere that he's been building here locally and throughout. And he is a big advocate of video. He really kind of not even knowingly pushed me into really doing much more video and making myself more comfortable with how goofy I look and sound. And so with that all being said, I want to bring in Mr. Kyle Draper.
All right.
What is up, guys?
Welcome.
What's up?
Come on. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for being here.
Time.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm excited to have you too. Unfortunately, people didn't get to see before we came on air. We were having a little conversation, and sometimes you always wish that you had recorded those because you really start to get into it, and you're not thinking about being on air or anything like that. But Kyle, tell everybody before we get started a little bit about you, about your involvement in social media, coaching, how you got started, and who you help.
Yes, sir. So I am, I guess the easiest way to say it is I am an organic social media expert. I work primarily with realtors and lenders. I also do some stuff with kind of just other entrepreneurs, but my goal is to help people make money without spending money. And so pre-COVID, I got to travel the country and speak at big events and do all that stuff. And now we're just zooming away. And so it is my goal in life, like Mark said, to empower you guys to see the value in yourselves, believe in the worth that you have, and then help propel you to continue to give that to more and more people so that your business grows, so that people are impacted. And man, that's me. And so I love all things social media. I love video marketing. And so I can't wait to see what all we talk about. I'm just so pumped up to be on with you guys.
Awesome. Well, then we are going to get right to it. I gave you guys a list of questions just so everybody out there knows, not so that it is canned. I don't want that, but I like seeing people prepared, right? I don't want to catch anybody off guard, and all of us are really good at what we do, but we still can be caught off guard sometimes. So Mark came back with some questions that he really likes. We talked about those. And so here's the first one. I want to go into this. I want us to have a good conversation. Why are small businesses so important to the health and well-being of our communities? So Mark, Kyle, whichever one wants to take that first, I'm going to let you guys get started.
I mean, I'll just preface with, there is no community without those pillars of the community that are there for the people in that community. And a lot of the time, those are the small businesses, entrepreneurs, the people that are involved and connected and really trying to move us forward in the right direction. I know, obviously, in a way, I'm a small business, but in a way, I'm an employee. But Kyle, you work with a lot of small businesses, not just within mortgage, not just within real estate. Definitely want to hear your take on it, man.
Yeah, man, I think, Mark, what you said is perfect. What I would add to it is, like, we're keeping the American dream alive, right? Like we have built America on the back of being able to be your own boss and chase your dream and do something that can provide jobs to people around us. And so, man, I just love knowing that as a small business owner, like, man, we're giving people the ability to continue to live out their life, their dreams, see us as inspiration, which is even crazy that people could look up to us and go, man, you're doing it. But that's what's been so cool for me is hearing people say, like Mark, what you said, like, Kyle doesn't even know how much he's inspired me. And like, that's why I love doing what I do. And so, along with that, Lendon, we talked about this before we hit the go live button, which is what you're referring to of the good conversation we had that wasn't being recorded is, so much of the small business owner we're the only ones truly looking out for everyone else, right? If Walmart's Grapevine location, failed, who gives a crap? They're moving on to the next thing. But that's not us, right? We're helping the local Pee Wee football teams play a season. We're helping the mom and pop stores stay afloat. I was literally at a Thai restaurant yesterday, and a guest walked in and asked how they were doing, and she said, "If I'm being honest, we're just hoping to still be here in a couple months." And that's heartbreaking to me. I gave her twice as big of a tip as I was going to because I overheard that conversation. And so if we don't protect each other, then who else will? And I think that's the value.
And so just me hearing you say that makes me think like, why we need to get something put together for them. I mean, it's, again, they are a small business and they are local and they are employing our neighbors. And the part of what we were talking about earlier is how, I mean, frankly, like the government isn't there for the small business, not there for us today. It really hasn't been over the last many years. And we see the difference in what's happening negatively. We see all the wealth flying to those big corporations that then take those profits, take those memories, take those potentially families out of our communities. And it's up to us to band together and really continue to bring us all together and not let the news and the media tear us apart.
So that leads me to the next question in talking about that. What can and should small businesses be doing better to make the difference in our communities?
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
So I think the multiple things. The first thing that I'll say is stop settling for average.
Ooh.
Stop settling for just having a business that we're like, I'm just thankful our doors are still open. Like, why have we allowed people to convince us that like striving for greatness it has to be a selfish thing and a bad thing? I choose to believe that like, if I'm successful, I have more to give. I have more opportunity to encourage people to come alongside me and chase their dreams, because if I can do it, you can do it. And so I want any small business owner out there to just look yourself in the mirror and say, for whatever reason, stop settling for average. Your people want more. Your employees want more. Your community needs more. And I think for so long, we've looked at people that want to make a lot of money and we've made them the enemy. We've made them the selfish ones. When, man, you really can't give what you don't have. And so that's the first thing that I would say. The second thing that I would say is, guys, get your freaking butts on social media. Right? Grant Cardone, who is a really famous real estate investor, he says best known beats best, which means it doesn't matter if you're the most intelligent local attorney in Dallas-Fort Worth. If nobody knows you, your knowledge doesn't make you any money. And so, guys, we've got to put ourselves out there. We've got to fight through the discomfort. I know, right? I'm sure, Lendon, that for a lot of your audience, they're 50 years old, they're 60 years old. They weren't born with a phone in their hand. And so this is uncomfortable for you. This is awkward for you. Guess what? Get over it. Because it's not going away. Right?
It's not. You know, I told people, Kyle, when I would first try to get them to start doing this, and it was out of their comfort zone. And I'm like, if you had the cure for cancer, and the only way that you could distribute that would be through social media and camera, video, would you do it? Well, yeah. So if you don't feel that way about your business, if you don't feel like you have the cure for whatever it is you're selling or you're serving, then you need to rethink what you're doing or the way you're doing it.
Amen. Yeah, Elon Musk, he was on Clubhouse last week, and somebody asked him, "Hey, Elon, while we've got you, what would you say to encourage all the entrepreneurs that are listening right now?" And man, it was hilarious because you're preparing for like this wealth of knowledge to come from one of the most brilliant minds in the world. And he said, if you need encouraging, you shouldn't be an entrepreneur. And it was such a brilliant statement. And so we got to just suck it up and put ourselves out there. And that's what this show is doing, right? You were talking about your viewership before we jumped on. This is it. I was literally encouraging my parents last night to start a podcast, and they don't have a clue how to do it. And I said, who cares? Let's fail our way through it and just start. And that's my advice to everybody.
I love
Absolutely.
that advice. I feel like I've internalized that since before we met. And it's funny you bring up Clubhouse. I was on Clubhouse last night and somebody was asking something about basically like the minimum effort to get the furthest reach, right? And I couldn't contain myself, and I was just like, why is that always the question? Why is it, how do I put in the least to get the most out? Like, why are we not willing, able, and ready to go give it our all to not just our business, but to our communities and to the people in our lives, and really bring this to the forefront? How is that not a thing?
Yeah, dude, you're absolutely right. I tell people all the time, convenience doesn't make you money.
No.
And so wherever in your life you're looking to be convenienced, you might as well just wave the white flag of surrender and quit. Right? If you're looking for weight loss to be convenient, you'll never lose weight. If you're hoping your marriage is going to be convenient, you're on the verge of divorce. Right? If you want social media to conveniently work for you, it never will. And so, dude, that's such a powerful conversation, because until we just willingly admit that like the things that matter will never be convenient, we will always struggle and we will settle for mediocrity, and we will celebrate just getting through as opposed to triumphantly winning to be able to help a lot of people.
So Kyle, I got a question for both of y'all. Do y'all know the 3 most costly things in the world? I'm not talking about expensive, but costly. And I want you to think about that word because it's a trick question.
Your time, would that be one?
Sort of. But here's the 3 most costly things: convenience, comfort, and entertainment.
I know. I definitely
you will spend more than most of it is worth. And generally, when you're spending on those 3 things, you're losing money somewhere else.
So good.
So let's get back now. I want to get back to that question. What we can be doing better in our communities. And I want to throw something at you guys and get your thoughts on that. Kyle, you're a coach. You talk to people all the time. There's a big, I don't know if you will agree with this or not, but I feel like there's a big abundance of insecurity a lot of times with the small business owners. We're fearful of our competitors and what they're going to do, and we don't want to share our thoughts or anything like that. Somebody's going to steal it. And I've always said, if you're willing to outwork them, it doesn't matter if they steal your idea or not, you're still going to be better off. But should we as small business owners kind of take a step back and look at things a little bit different, that just because we're competitors, we don't have to be enemies. We do not have to try to destroy each other in order to advance ourselves, because I think that harms our communities when we're doing that, when we're in a constant battle to not necessarily improve, but to hinder our competitor. How do you guys think that impacts the community?
Negativity breeds negativity, man.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think, Lendon, we have to choose. Do we want to come from a place of abundance or from a place of scarcity? When we operate in scarcity, Mark is my enemy, right? Because in that mindset, what's his could have been mine, and I don't like that, and so I'm going to fight to take what's his so that it can be mine. When we live in a place of abundance, then we look at Dallas-Fort Worth and we go, this is one of the fastest growing metropolitan areas in the world. This place is overflowing with opportunity at every turn. And so when I live in abundance, I don't see competitors. I see an industry that is hoping to help people get better. And the
Right.
beauty of the way we're all uniquely made is, guys, all three of us could read the same business book, follow the exact same blueprint, and all three of our businesses would be so uniquely different that would attract a unique audience because we're different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just love, like, here's another piece of this, right? I'm a social media coach. When I watch people struggle with content, a large reason they struggle is because they're having this inner fight on what of my secret sauce am I allowed to give away and what do I need to hold tight to my chest?
Right.
And so when we're in this constant state of flux, we end up not doing very much content because we're like, oh no, that was too much. Or we give away so little that the video sucked and nobody cared anyway. And so I got connected to a guy yesterday, and the friend that connected us said, hey, he's a video expert. So like, just have an open mind. Don't see him as a competitor. And I was like, what are you talking about? I love it. I love learning from my so-called competitors because they know stuff I don't know.
Right.
And so I see it as an opportunity to learn and grow, not sharpen my sword and go in ready for battle. And the beauty of all of this is we get to choose. Do you want to wake up tomorrow with the mindset of scarcity, or do you want to wake up tomorrow with the mindset of abundance? You choose. The world's going to be what the world's going to be. And so that's my take on it. If any of that even made sense, I don't, sometimes I just start preaching and I don't even know.
It's a beautiful take.
It all made sense.
I mean,
Mark,
I don't have anything to add to that, man.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to top that, Mark. I mean, that it's, but you're right. It's that mentality. It's that mindset that there's plenty out there. But Kyle, would you say that we struggle sometimes because we are afraid we're going to be outworked? Kind of like what Mark said. Okay, so Mark says, what's the least I can do? I think that is a mindset and a mentality that a lot of us have. I call it conditional and unconditional commitment. Conditional commitment says, until, what if, or unless, I'll commit to this if it doesn't get too hard or it doesn't cost too much. And then the unconditional is, just tell me what I got to do. I'm going to go do it. So in some of the things that I have observed over the years, I feel like, and I've been guilty myself in my younger days of sharing that information or being afraid that if I give something I've learned to someone else, they may take that and do more with it because they're going to be willing to work harder than I am. Do you think that's a valid or a valid point?
I think for the select few that is, because for you to even acknowledge that thought means that you're already highly competitive. And if you're already highly competitive, then you're probably not too concerned with what your competitor's doing because you're already determined to outwork them. I think, honestly, most people's issue comes down to the self-limiting belief that even though I say I'm good enough, I don't think I'm good enough. And if I don't act, then I'll never know if I was or I wasn't.
I think there's definitely an element of that to it, but I think there's also the element of, I don't want to internally commit to this and not achieve it and then not feel good about myself. And so if I just do a little and it leads to a little and I just keep doing that, I'm comfortable. I'm moving forward.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like if my goal today was to turn my car on, sweet. Man, I nailed it. I got it.
I got out of the house. I turned the car on and I turned back around.
But yeah, so what I hear you saying is we're limiting the expectations we even set for ourselves so that we don't end up disappointing ourselves over and over and over again.
I think it's that, and I think it's also the judgment of your peers and your friends and your family, and
Yep.
what do they think of me, and a lot of that comes from just insecurity over who you are and what you bring to the table. Right?
Gary V says, why do we let other people's opinions keep us from our own personal happiness?
Right.
And I talk to so many people that go, yeah, but if I do that video, like, I'm really nervous about what my sister's going to think. And I'm like, why have we let the opinion of your sister keep you from doing something that I've already proven to you can make you $50,000? It's a crazy, weird mind thing that I know. I don't know that I'm smart enough to figure it all out, but I think that's where most people are.
I mean, I don't know if it's smart enough, or if it's brave enough, or if it's simply just like dumb enough. Like some of the stuff that I've been able to do and pull off, it's just because I didn't know any better, that I couldn't. Right.
Brilliant.
I had to hold myself back there a little bit, but.
No,
Right.
you're absolutely right. I would totally classify myself as dumb enough to try anything.
I am.
Yeah, I agree. I think you got to have that, mentality that what have I got to lose? Really and truly,
Yeah.
what do I have to lose? And I can get in a long conversation about how I think sometimes we present ourselves to be maybe more than what we are, and we don't want to be exposed for that when we actually bite off the apple to see if we can really achieve what we've professed that we can. So I think that holds a lot of people back. Fellas, I wish we had another 30 minutes, but we don't. We got about 3 minutes left. So I want to make sure that people out there that have listened know how to get in touch with both of you. Mark at Movement Mortgage, and I want you to tell everybody how to get in touch with you. If you're looking for a mortgage, I'm telling you, you're not going to go wrong talking to Mark. One of the hardest working guys, and when I say that, I'm talking about in every area: self-improvement, education, knowledge, not to mention how hard he works for his customers. But Mark, tell everybody how to get in touch with you, and then Kyle, we will let you wrap it up.
Well, I appreciate you letting me stop by, and I'm looking forward to being a more prevalent face on the difference moving forward. You guys, you can honestly just look up Loan Officer Mark. You're probably going to find me. The website's Loan Officer Mark. The social medias are Loan Officer Mark. I don't know how it was available, but I swooped that up. And if you guys need anything from me, I'm more than happy to help, whether you're a loan officer at another lender, or whether you're a real estate agent, or just looking to get connected with great people like Kyle or Lendon. Love to help. Just feel free to reach out.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Kyle, tell everybody again how to get in touch with you. I'm gonna roll it at the bottom, but
Yes,
where are
sir.
you located? What you can do for them?
I'm right here in Dallas, Fort Worth, but I work with people all over North America. You'll see my info on the bottom. You can find me at Coach Kyle Draper on every social platform. You can go to kyledraper.com. You can also go download and subscribe to my brand new podcast that launched yesterday called The Social Media Mindset. And so you can go search it on Apple, Spotify, wherever podcasts are available. And man, if you need to digitize your dream, your vision, your passion, your business, we need to have a conversation.
Absolutely. And I definitely want to have you back on, Kyle, so that we can have a conversation about the importance of social media and the effectiveness of it for small business owners. We have opportunities today that businesses have never had at a price which most of the time can be free, that businesses have never had. And it gives us an edge if we're willing to take advantage of it. So, fellas, thank you so much. Kyle, good to see you. Mark, always. Mark will be back on again next month with a new guest. And so thanks for coming on, guys. I'm going to transition now over. Got another co-host coming in with another guest. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. All right. Next coming up, I have Julie Ultimas with Super Home Warranty. She has been with us now for quite a while. Really, really happy to have her as part of what we do. And so I'm going to bring her in now. Julie, welcome to the Difference Makers, the first day inaugural. Well, I wouldn't say inaugural. We did one this morning, but here we are this afternoon, going strong again. Welcome. I can't hear you, Julie.
I got it. I was on mute. The audio's acting a little bit strange on your end, skipping around. So,
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I can hear you good. I can hear you just fine. So I'm not sure what's wrong. I've been, as I said earlier, between cameras and then audio on my end. It's been a terrible couple of days. So anyway, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it. Give us a little bit of background.
Absolutely. So I'm Julie Ultimas, for those of you who haven't met me yet. And I am with Super, which is a home warranty company. Super stands for superintendent, or super as in fantastic. So that's how the name came about. Our CEO and founder moved from the East Coast to the West Coast. And in the East, apparently they say, I got a super on my house. And that means like a landlord, somebody who takes care of everything for you. So that's where the name was derived from originally. But then because this home warranty company is shaking up the industry and doing a lot of things different and unique, trying to reinvent the industry. In fact, that's our tagline, home warranty reinvented. Then that's where the other side of Super's term was coined as well, being just a fantastic company. So I'm glad to be here with you today and join you and dive into all the goodies, Lendon. I can't hear you though. I think we're having some audio issues for sure. Anyway, so since we're having some audio issues, I'm just going to keep talking until Lendon shuts me up and says, stop talking, which all my good, guy buddy friends would say that I can be long-winded. I don't think so. My girlfriends never tell me that. It's only the guys. So, hey, Brian, can you hear me okay?
I got you fine. I'm having trouble with him too.
Yeah, I can't hear Lendon, but I can hear myself, and we're still live. So I'm just going to pipe in here for just a minute until Lendon gives me words.
Let's do it.
Anyway, I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, born and raised in Dallas. I've lived here a long time. I won't give away how long, but a long time. I've seen a lot of changes, highways come and go, neighborhoods being built, and all kinds of infrastructure coming in. And so it's been challenging a little bit, to see all the changes come in Dallas. It's just not the same anymore as it was. But that's also brought a lot of opportunities, and a lot of opportunities for small businesses to come onto the scene and expand and do what they do. And so this is how I met Dr. Hooten. So I wasn't feeling that great the last couple of years, and finally did everything that I knew to do, exhausted all possibilities. And what took me in there finally, not to say that there wasn't a lot of stuff, but what finally brought me in there was headaches. I'm sure there's many of you out there in the world that can identify with headaches and just normal aches and pains and things that don't work right in your body. And this is something I could not conquer by myself as much as I tried. So that took me to Dr. Hooten, and he is going to be our guest today. So Lendon, can you hear me? Would it be
I could hear y'all the whole time. Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, we can. We can.
Yeah, we got you.
So before I toss it over to Brian, is there anything else that you wanted me to say here?
No, you did very well. I was praying when I realized that I'd lost audio, that I'm like, okay, Julie's got a background in radio and television. Maybe she'll take the reins of this. And so you did great. Thank you so much for covering for me. No, I want you to introduce Dr. Hooten and let him start. And we're going to get, once he's told everybody a little bit about him, we're going to get started with some of the questions about small business and get you guys thoughts and and opinions on what we can be doing as small business owners to help our communities more.
Yeah, so I gave you guys the reason why I went to Dr. Hooten, but I want to tell you something special about Dr. Hooten that separates him from the rest.
Uh-oh.
So while I told you I went in there, I won't tell any secrets, I promise. But while I went in there addressing headaches, one of the things that I loved the most that really caught my attention is when I went in there, they were playing praise music out loud, and all the girls were wearing faith-based t-shirts. And that just caught my attention. I happen to be a person that believes that God heals. And when I went in there, I felt exactly like I was home and with a bunch of family that had the same like mind that I did. So that's first and foremost. And then secondly, he genuinely took interest in my care, how to take care of me, started asking about supplements, water, minerals. He's a big believer in minerals, and cared about the other side, getting to the root causes of why I was in his office in the first place, rather than just treating me like another patient. And I was in and out. He's got my money. Thank you very much. And I'm out the door. I would have left. But because he's taken such good care of me, and I've seen him do the same thing with other patients, I'm still there. And I think, Dr. Hooten, I've been going to you now a little over 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
About right.
Yeah. And there's been a huge improvement, I will say, and it has led me to other journeys. He opened the door of possibilities to other things I should be looking at and paying attention to. And because of that, I'm in a much better place doing great things. So with all that being said, I want to introduce you to Brian Hooten. He has a practice in Dallas, right there in Addison at Beltline and the Tollway. So Dr. Hooten, I think Lendon has some questions lined up for you, and I'm so glad that you were able to join us today.
Thank you. You know, what you're talking about with the headaches, I think most people, when they think of a chiropractor, it's like the snap, crackle, pop and that kind of thing. And one of the first things I tell everybody is that we're not at all what you think we're going to be, just to sort of dispel any illusions. Because when I was a kid, you know, I had this disease. I had this weird lung disease that spread to my kidneys, and the doctors gave me no hope, 5 medications. I was in the hospital, get this, 20 times before I was 2.
Wow.
So my family we were sort of indoctrinated into this medical mindset from the minute I was born all the way up to 13. And, you know, like you with headaches, or whether it's headaches or thyroid problems or heart problems or lung asthma, you know, it's a big one, ADD in kids, whether it's whatever diagnosis, what the system does is it labels you and drugs you, and it doesn't really give you a solution. So at 13, they took me into this specialized type of chiropractor, and she changed everything. As she started to work on me, my lungs healed up, my kidney healed up. I was off all that medication. And the big thing that I would like everybody to hear is that she did not fix my lungs. I do not fix headaches, for example. That's a very common thing. There's like 102. Did you know that there's 102 different headache diagnoses and some 40 different medications for those 102 headache diagnoses? I can't fix a headache, but you can, you know, and that's what my childhood chiropractor told my family. He can fix himself. God put the power in there. If we interfere with that power, our body gets sick, and that's our main MO. And that's what I would like to tell everybody that I do is that instead of me looking at me like I'm going to fix you, I'm going to help your body restore the power that was already in there, you know, from the very beginning, literally the power that God put in your brain and your body to heal itself. And once you really anchor to that, now it's just a matter of following the proper steps, and the results speak for themselves. So thank you for having me on here, by the way. It's a big message. I love it.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you. And, you know, Julie said some wonderful things about you, and I'm excited to talk to you and get to know more about you and what you do in the community. Obviously, being a healer in the community is one of the most important things that anybody can do. So, you know, we're limited on time, so I want to get into our questions.
You got it.
First one I want to talk about, I want to get you guys' feedback and opinion. Why are small businesses so important to the health and well-being of our communities? Julie, Dr. Hooten, whichever one of you wants to go first, give me your thoughts on that question.
Go ahead, sis. Julie, go ahead.
Lendon, I'm assuming you asked, you know, why are small businesses so important to the health and the well-being of our communities? You cut out a little bit, so I'm just taking the rein on that question. Well, I have to tell you, it is very, very difficult to do my job day in and day out if I don't feel well. And there are days that I literally have not been able to get off the couch. I mean, it's been a while. It's been a couple of years or so, but it's important that I'm thriving and I'm doing the best that I can do, that I feel the best that I can feel so that I can pour into other people. It's very frustrating when you don't feel good. You know, you want to volunteer at church. You know, you want to give back in your community to that shoe drive, to that providing lunch for families or delivering meals to families who are in need. And if you aren't well and you don't feel healthy, it's very difficult to give back to your community. You know, Brian thinks he's maybe fixing one person at a time, but when the reality is that well body can go out and influence many people because they feel great and they feel the best that they can, then that's a huge game changer. And for me, there's so much inside of me that I want to do and want to give back. And when I don't feel well, then that's the biggest hindrance of all. So having somebody that's there to support you and take care of you and genuinely cares about your health and coaches you to be the best that you can be physically, mentally, and all of that is a huge game changer, like I was saying.
Awesome.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So when communities, when small businesses come together, it's like a connector. You know, Julie's a big relational person. I'm a big relational person. You know, when you sit down with somebody one-on-one and you look into their eyes and you get to know them, that is a huge difference than when you're, you know, getting online or something and trying to form a relationship with a big business. You know, and not there's anything wrong with big business necessarily, but you're certainly not connected one-on-one with somebody. And at the heart of everything that I do, I know that you know, people living in despair, you know, they have very limited connections with people. They're very lonely. If you talk to anybody that's, you know, depressed and anxiety, you know, even talk to somebody that's suicidal, and you really dig in there, and I've just read so much on the psychology of all this, you know, it comes down to severe loneliness. I mean, there's just no connection. And we're in a time with all the cell phones and all the digital stuff that's out there, everything that's disconnecting. And now we've got these mass things. It's all disconnection. So when you have a small business in your community, it's a direct line of connection. And in a big picture, it's a direct line to God, especially if, you know, if you have a group of believers around. It's essential. I can't imagine, like, I couldn't imagine taking our business and making it gigantic, you know, because of the relationships we have with people like Julie.
So that leads me to another question, a follow-up question on this, Dr. Hooten. You know, and I think we all know this. We hear all the time about doctors and the bedside manner and things like that. And you talked about being relational, and that's something that the difference is all about, is relational over transactional. We all have to make money. We all have to pay our bills. We all want to support our families. We'll never apologize for trying to generate revenue. But, you know, I think that you can be relational and generate revenue, but you may not be able to be transactional and do that forever, because people start to look for the people they can connect with. As a doctor, as a healthcare professional, it's obviously critical that you are relational and you get to know the person as well as you can get to know them, because there's just things you need to know in order to treat them. And the only way to do that is to get to know them very well, to ask the right questions, to dig a little bit deeper. Help me understand how, because doctors are small businesses as well. How does that correlate together? And if you were advising any other small business outside of the healthcare industry to get to know their customers, to get to know their consumers, to get to know their business associates, what would you tell them would be one of the most important reasons as a business owner that they need to be more relational?
I think an easy one is, before you walk into the room, just take a moment and realize you're probably walking into a situation with somebody that needs caring. You know, whether we're selling health or selling, you know, mortgage or anything like that. The sad reality of the moment is that people are shy in that department. They just need love. You know, they need a relationship. So if you walk into it caring about them first, the money comes naturally. So, you know, it does take some practice. It's easy for me to say that, but you got to really spend some time, you know, praying and doing your morning routine, you know, getting into a proper state, so you're not easily lured away by just the money. You know, a lot of people lead in with the money. What's my commission going to be? You know, what kind of business are they going to bring me? You know, that kind of thing. But if you lead in, you know, intentionally, and, you know, it doesn't always work out. I'm not going to sit here and say it's 100%, but when it does work out, if you throw all your love out there that you can, right, it's going to stick, and it's going to stick hard on a lot of people, because a lot of people need it.
That's a great point. So on our show this morning, we were talking about that, and I kind of got on it sounded like an anti-corporate rant. It really wasn't. I'm not anti-capitalist or anti-corporate. I'm just really pro small business. I've been one my whole life. And we were talking and kind of had the conversation with what you're saying, that people just want to matter. And if I'm spending money with you, I want to feel like I matter to you, that I'm not just a paycheck, right? And I think that sometimes in this fast-paced world, you talked about the cell phones and you talked about technology and everything like that. I think that we lose sight of one of the most valuable things we can offer anybody that we're doing business with is to show them that they matter. Not just that they matter because they're paying me, but they actually matter as a person. Would you agree with that?
Totally. The minute they lose that feeling from you, they're gone. It doesn't matter how good your product is.
Agree. Julie, what do you think about that as well?
I absolutely agree with that. And that's why I was mentioning a minute ago that I've been a patient with Dr. Hooten for over 2 years, because I felt like he genuinely cared for me. Now I realize, and I do try to implement that same thing in my business. And I have, I'm working with real estate agents all the time, all day long, having conversations and building relationships with them. You are going to meet some people sometimes that don't care about being in a relationship with you. And Brian, you may be able to speak to that as well. They come in, they go out, they don't really talk much, don't have a lot to say. And I mean, I admit I can be quiet sometimes when I'm on a mission, but building those relationships are crucial. I just said this yesterday at a lunch with some fellow super reps in the industry. I said, there's a lady that I called just last week, and I wanted to talk to her and thank her for her business and talk about how I could bring value to her business in 2021, see what Super could offer, talk to me about the kind of clients that you're working with this year and what have been some of the challenges, all those things I wanted to get into. And when she answered the phone, she said, "Hey, Julie, what's up?" And she just set the tone right then, like she doesn't want to talk to me. Yet she has sent me and our company quite a bit of business this last year. So I get sometimes those are one-offs, but by and large, people want to be heard. They want to be felt. They want to know that you like them, that you have trust with them, and that you've built this relationship with them. But I said to my super representatives yesterday, I said, as soon as somebody else comes along that builds a better relationship with that agent, I'm not going to have the business anymore, no matter how good super is, because I can't seem to build a friendship with this person. So I think it's absolutely crucial to our community, our society, and to one another as we engage in our daily business practices.
Absolutely. So that brings us to the next question. How do small businesses impact the culture of our communities versus a large corporation? Mm-hmm. So, Julie, you want to take this first, and then we'll go to Dr. Hooten?
I mean, because I live in the real estate industry all the time, I can say that, if I ever thought about leaving Dallas as an example, I would never think about, well, gee, I don't ever want to leave Dallas because Toyota is right down the street. The corporation of Toyota is right down the street from me.
Great point.
Nebraska Furniture Nebraska Furniture is right down the street from me. I'm going to be saying, geez, I don't want to leave my doctors that care about me and love me. I don't want to leave, my friends. I don't want to leave this private school maybe that we're attending, because it's like one big family to us. And we live in this great neighborhood where we walk into the restaurant and they already know what I want to order before I ever sit down. Those are the things that make you want to stay in your community. It's not the big corporations that are on the corner.
That is a really, really good point. Dr. Hooten, what do you think?
Yeah, she said a big word, and it's family. I think it's just next to impossible to call like a big company like Toyota your family. You know what I mean? But if you have a bunch of small businesses in your community that you can get to know, I mean, we know all the different small businesses around my office and around my house. They know us, and we know them. They know my kids. It is a fascinating feeling to be connected to everyone, where it's just, I guess comfortable is the right word, but loved. And it's, every day is fun. I feel like if we walked into a community where we didn't have that, now we're going back to being disconnected, and we're going to get more lonely, a little more depressed. That doesn't sound appealing at all. So I'm with you, Julie. If we ever move, it's to a place with a bunch of small businesses that I can get in and get to know and love.
I agree. I think both of you hit the nail on the head. The other thing that I think about with the large corporations, and you don't see it often, but sometimes you do. And, sometimes you'll have a corporation that's in a community, and if they're not making the profit margin that they feel like they are, they just pick up and leave. They lay everybody off, and they move on down the road. What I love about the small business owners is we don't want that option, but we don't really have that option. Our kids go to school, we go to church, we have the families, we have our relationships. And so a lot of times we're going to push a little bit harder, maybe suffer a little bit more to make sure that we stay within that community. And that is part of the fabric and the culture of that community as well. So let me see, we got about 9 minutes left. We're doing really good. Next question I want to talk about is outside of that. And I love this one. This is my favorite. Outside of marketing and advertising, how important is it for small business owners and entrepreneurs to find better ways to engage with the consumers in their communities?
Radically important. One of my favorite things to do, because about a third of our patient population is children under 16. So one of our favorite things to do is when they have a game of some kind, we go out there and support them. Involve them in a charity event. Julie's been around to see our bicycle rally that we do annually. We've given away now, well over 3,000 bicycles around Christmas time. I guess it's a creative thing to do. But what it does is it continually draws people in, specifically to our industry, in order to get them closer to a real healthcare facility. Because that health is, it should be at the forefront of all of our thoughts, but everything else seems to be a distraction. So bringing them in to using those type of tools, to get closer to real health, which, should be our priority, like I said, and it's been fabulous. I never started any of that. Like the clothes drive, we're working with a school for sex trafficked kids, a school that's helping rescue these kids. And I never dreamed of doing anything like that while I was in school. And it's not necessarily a marketing thing, but it sure does help rally the community. I mean, we throw an event for these kids that have been rescued for sex trafficking, and people come out of the woodworks trying to help them, and it really gives a sense of fulfillment, I think, is a big word.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Julie, what do you think about that? About what we need to be doing within our communities to connect better with the consumer, with our neighbors?
Well, I'm in agreement with Brian and the things that he said. It's brought awareness to me also, just being a part of his practice. And I've sat in on one of those sex trafficking conversations and meetings, seeing how I might be able to help. And here I am, just a patient, finding out about what he's doing. And now I want to be a part of it. So it spreads, like the goodness spreads, like the love envelops, many people in many different ways. And I've been a part of his bike rally as well. So I think it's really important. It's a way for us to position ourselves as small business owners to give back in the community. And, I had an agent tell me a story that I want to share with you. She said, last year was my best year ever. She said, I don't advertise. I don't buy one single lead on Zillow or, any of those kind of places, Google, where you can get leads from. And she said, but you know what I think made the difference? And she said, I raised money to revamp and beautify a park in the middle of the Denton Square. And she said, I've lived here all my life. I love Denton. This means a lot to me. And this is my community. I went to high school here, went to school here. And I just wanted to be a part of beautifying this little park. So she said, I just took this project on. And she said, you wouldn't believe the amount of business that I gained from beautifying this park in the middle of the town square. She said, I did not do it at all for business. It just happened because I met so many different people. and I was helping in the community as well. So I think it's important that we look for ways that we can give back. Lendon, I think you were saying it doesn't even take effort. It just comes back to you when you start pouring out and you start giving and getting involved in the community and helping change the lives of other people and our surroundings. The outcome just happens.
Amen.
It does. And that's that's a great story. You actually helped me with a new question that I'm going to be asking on future shows. And what are we doing in our communities that makes them appreciate us? And because I think we get so wrapped up in what our job is that we forget there's so much more we can be doing. And that's that little extra. That's the difference, to play on words here.
Right.
Julie, Dr. Hooten, I wish we had more time. We're getting close to the end of the show. Got about 4 minutes. I want to make sure that both of you have time again to tell everybody about who you are and how to get in touch with you. Thank you both for all you do. Julie, I've known you for so long. I know what your heart is. I know where your mind is. And I'm so fortunate to have a program like this where I get to join with so many fantastic, special people that really get what servant leadership is all about. And so thank you for being a part of it. Dr. Hooten, thank you so much today for sharing what you did. I would love to have you back again on
Anytime.
another show. But before we go, we'll let ladies go first. Julie, tell everybody how to get in touch with you, and we'll let you finish, Dr. Hooten. All
right. So obviously my information is scrolling across the screen, but my email is julie@hellosuper.com. And when I say hello, people are like, hello? I'm like, yeah, like, hi. Hello, Julie@hellosuper.com. And my phone number is 214-210-1106. So if I can help you with home warranty, if I can partner with you in that respect, and heck, if you need some prayer, we have a Facebook page called Pray Dallas. Connect with us there as well. We're happy to jump in and be prayer partners with you as well.
Absolutely. Awesome. Dr. Hooten, tell everybody again about you, and I'm going to run how they can reach you as well.
You got it. My email's down, or our website's down there, drhooten.com. Obviously, we're all over Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You can find us anywhere on social media. We're in the heart of North Dallas at Beltline and the Tollway. Unfortunately, right behind In-N-Out Burger. Don't stop there on the way to the office, because we are going to show you how to save your own life physically. When I say that, I'm talking about avoiding the nursing home, avoiding medications, rescuing. If you're already there, if you're already in the middle of taking high blood pressure medicines and pre-diabetes and that kind of thing, we can show you a path out of it. Ultimately, it comes down to your willingness to take action. Really, the steps aren't that difficult, and it's not even that expensive. The hardest part I see in people is actually making the effort. And when you leverage that against disease and the amount of time people spend in the doctor's office and at the pharmacy, preventing things and doing the things that you should be doing to promote health are the only way to go. So we had obviously people with headaches that come in and they get their own headaches resolved, people with blood pressure, weight, even the big stuff like cancer, where they've fired the system and they make changes in their life and their body gets well. It's been a real blessing. We'd love to see you there.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for being here. We are just about out of time. We have completed the first day with all the technical difficulties. Julie, thank you for standing in for me when I went MIA there for a second. But for all of you that are watching, we do these shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 a.m. and then 3 p.m. We got started a little bit late today because our first co-host couldn't make it. Anyway, we will be back again next Tuesday, and I want to thank everybody for watching today. And again, thank you both for being here, and we will see you all soon.
Appreciate you, ladies.